Welcome to the Lion's Den. Right now I want to talk about something that is near and dear to every single one. Hopefully in this world, hopefully to you, if you have this thing called compassion. If you don't have compassion, you're the type of person, you're not going to care about this topic. But if you have this much heart, then this right here is something that will touch you. It's something that will make you think before you even open your mouth up and talk about creating a bigger, a better, a longer wall. That's right. A bigger, a better, and longer wall. Is there a need for a wall? Right now, when you look and you see two young kids died recently. The new year is coming, and it seems like there are people that are more concerned with the wall than they are people. They're more concerned with creating a bigger, better, stronger, longer wall than they are with people. All right? President wants $5 billion for his wall. I don't care about the politics of the Republicans, Democrats. That's not my concern. But all I know is that he was given the exact amount, somewhere close to $1.9 billion, as opposed to the $5 billion. $1.9 billion for the wall. He didn't want the $1.9 billion because he was talked out of it by certain people in his party. He didn't want it initially, but he was going to sign it at one point. So let's look at this, because this right here is really a problem. You have people out there, the caravan, regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of right or wrong. I'm not here for right or wrong right now. I'm here for the part of the compassion. Maybe this wall right now is not the best thing. And maybe the wall in the future is not the best thing. But the one thing I do know is that if this is not resolved by just passing the bill, if this is not resolved by just accepting the 1.9, if it's not resolved, then guess what? Unfortunately, there will be more pain and sorrow at the border, unfortunately. What is more important? The youth? The families? President Trump always talks about the women, how all the women, he's concerned about these people coming in here because he's concerned about these women being hurt and all this. Well, what about the women that are trying to come across here? What about them? What about their children? If they're hungry, will you feed them? If they're starving, will you help them? If they're sick, will you heal them? He claims to be a Christian. And many of the people who hold these values claim to be a Christian. Or they claim to believe in God, whatever it is you believe. But if you believe in God, and the truth is that young girl who had 103 fever would have remained in that hospital until she got better, whether she needed IVs or whatever it was, but she was released. She was released from that hospital. The young kid that was throwing up. Christmas Eve, he was sick. Kept throwing up. Sick for hours. His father and his mother, they don't have their son. So I want everybody to think about this. While people are rallying, wanting Trump to not sign this because we want a bigger border, we want a stronger border, I want you to think about that right there. It's not what matters in the end. See, the border will be enforced anyway, regardless of if he received the amount right now that they were going to give him, close to 1.9 billion, or if he received the 5 billion. The borders will be enforced. There's no need for any additional money for the border. Because you know why? Because reality is the border is almost 2,000 miles. So a 2,000-mile border, up hills, mountains, private property. If you think that the wall is going to cover all of that, you're sadly mistaken. And if anyone tells you that they can completely protect that border, then you're naive. Because the border cannot be protected completely. They will have to continue to use what they have to protect that border, but that's the only way. See, that's the problem. We try to create fear. They want to see people panic. They want to see all this to rile them up, to rile their base up. That's unfortunate. But if you had some compassion, you would know. And you thought with your head and had some compassion, you would know that this border wall, this wall, trying to keep people out completely, is the furthest thing from reality you will ever see. Furthest thing. Because when the people are determined and their stomach is growling, they're going to try to do whatever they can to get whatever they have to get. And that includes, even if you have a higher wall, climb it. And if the wall, they don't feel like climbing it that day, pull a El Chapo and go under it. Or go in the sky and fly over it. Or take a car, a truck, and go right through it. Whatever it is, when you're hungry and you see opportunity on the other side, you're going to do it. So they're never going to completely slow it down. They're never going to slow it down to the point where you're like, you know what? This year there were much less people, illegal immigrants, much less. You're not going to see that right now. You're not going to see that, no. As of right now. All right? So the wall is not the key. But to get back to what we're saying is, show some compassion. This goes for people who are pumped up and want the wall. This goes for your politicians. It's time right now to make sure that those children, that those families, if you decide to detain them, that's on you. But at least they're safe. At least you're taking care of them. At least the issue is not about a wall because you want more money. And I also have to say, for the other side, for the Democrats, this goes out to both. This goes out to Republicans and Democrats. Like I said, this is not about taking sides. This is not about who's doing the right thing. If you decide to provide more money, then that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Because the 1.9 billion, close to that they already received and you're just extending it is more than enough to enforce whatever you want to enforce in the US of A. Whatever it is y'all do, that's more than enough. So let's stop this right now. Because to give more means you're in bed with someone who at times means evil. It does not mean or want to see the best for all. So that 1.9 is understandable. That's what you have to do. Anything other than that, you can't come to the table and say, oh, we're here for everyone. Oh, no. There's no need to even think that you are the party of humanitarians when you go along with this right here. This will not harm anyone if it is just passed. But the key is this. Do we have the compassion? Do you have the heart to be the America that we truly need to be? Not the America that your hateful heart wants us to be. Think about it. Once again, peace. Thanks for tuning into the Lions Den. I'll check you out next time.